Right, so now we're going to have a long-awaited presentation by the founder of UkraineDAO. We're going to hear about how the influence of crypto in Ukraine is Ukraine's resistance goes beyond money. And I would like to welcome to the stage Alona Shevchenko. And I've got a special information for you about Alona, which nobody knows about, that apart from all her great activism that she's doing, she's also got a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Thanks.
So be careful.
Hey, everyone. This is my first offline speech since like 2015, I've just realized, so don't judge. Also, how do I switch slides? Does anybody know? It's like a clicker? Oh, on here? Lovely, okay. I'll figure it out. 1 second. How are you doing, guys? Good. I'm trying.
No, pero dale. Espero que es aquí. ¿Dónde está la presentación? Animation. Aquí, dale. Sí, perdón.
That works. So my name is Alona. I'm a co-founder and operational lead of UkraineDAO. What do you guys think a DAO is?
Decentralized autonomous organization.
What does it mean? Anyone? Say again? Chaos. That's so true. Yeah, they're not very decentralized sometimes. They're definitely not very autonomous and certainly not very organized, but we are trying. Today we'll talk about how the influence of, did I make it? No, the influence of Ukraine's resistance goes beyond money. This presentation doesn't have design because I didn't have time for it. I came to Barcelona and then things happened. And so, yeah, let's keep it simple. UkraineDAO started on the 21st of February when it was kind of a few weeks after being worried sick about the escalation around Ukraine's borders. I started this Telegram group chat with 2 of my friends, and then on the night of the 24th, I dropped a message in there saying that every major city in Ukraine was getting bombed, and they started pulling in their friends into the group chat. And then next thing I know, I came back from the protest in the evening, and I also set up Discord. There was like 5 people in it, and I opened the Discord, and there is like 30 channels in there, like 2,000 people, and everyone was like talking about this NFT that we eventually sold for of almost $7 million. It was the 10th most expensive NFT in the world. But let's talk about what DAOs are for a bit. So in my view, a DAO is a Web3 native community with a certain mission. And that mission is obviously very different for every separate DAO. And so the structure of the DAO should also be adjusted to that mission, right? So UkraineDAO, for example, unlike most other DAOs, is not tokenized. We don't have a token. The benefit of that is that when people ask me how we are affected by the bear market, we are not, because it doesn't really matter to us. So the donations that are made to UkraineDAO, we transfer them in crypto as well, so we don't suffer from the same market volatility impact. So UkraineDAO uses the power of Web3 tech and community to defend Ukraine against the Russian invasion. Our current focus, it changes as Ukraine's needs change. Currently, it's arming Ukraine. We need fighter jets. If anybody has a fighter jet, please let me know. I'm not joking. Countering Russian propaganda goes without saying. Amplifying Ukrainian voices. Something that I would like to mention is that very often people confuse people are confused about what supporting Ukraine means. So supporting Ukraine, in my view, and in the opinion of most Ukrainians, means like listening to Ukrainians. It sounds wild, I know, but it's a very important point that I would love for everyone to take in from this presentation. If you say you support Ukraine, but then you're not ready to listen to Ukrainians, to give them an opportunity to speak. By the way, super grateful that I was given an opportunity to speak here today. That is the most important thing. So I used to say in the past that the most important thing is to speak about Ukraine, but then I've realized that not everything that people assume about Ukrainians, not everything that people think about Ukraine is actually true. And so, yeah, it's super important for us that we are listened to, that we are being allowed to feel angry about what's happening, you know. That's something that we are often we are refused this right very often. So that's about amplifying Ukrainian voices. We are known as kind of the fundraising DAO, kind of unfortunately, because to our team members, this is not the most significant thing that we've achieved as a DAO. One of our most impactful areas of work recently has been helping the Stanford-backed Starling Lab. And Starling Lab is a project that uses blockchain to track and record Russian war crimes in Ukraine. They previously deployed this technology successfully in Syria, and now they have something that's called Project Dokaz, which is the Ukrainian side of Starling Lab. Something that I really like about them is that 50% of their budget is dedicated to, by the way, you can scan this barcode and you'll find out more about the project. 50% of the budget is dedicated for Ukrainian talents. And that's something that more projects should be doing, and something that I really love about them. Also, kind of the integrity and the empathy with which they approach their work in Ukraine is very impressive. So Dokaz and Starling Lab is run by my friend Jonathan Doughton. He's the founding director of Starling Lab. And the last few months, we've been helping them very actively. The team that we found for them in Kharkiv collected evidence that was recently submitted to the International Criminal Court, which is not, it's not been done by a DAO before. The UkraineDAO trucks, run by my parents, my mom and dad, and they are partially powered by Ethereum donations. Well, we have a separate wallet for them, separate from UkraineDAO's treasury. And people send donations to them, and they are able to cover some parts of operational expenses, which I think is really cool, and it's a really cool use case for Ethereum as well. They deliver humanitarian aid in Ukraine, and they bring it from across the border. And they recently also went into the war zone to deliver food in Kharkiv region. Also, UkraineDAO is supported by the Ministry of Digital Transformation. I think it's the first, to my knowledge, but correct me if I'm wrong. It's the first DAO to have endorsement at a state level. We have a group chat with MinSifra, Ministry of Digital Transformation, and yeah, it was a funny moment recently when I was trying to contact some university and people told me to like write them a letter. I was like, what do you mean, like an email? It was a British university. And they were like, no, you need to like, have you tried writing them like a paper letter? And then I'm looking at this like Telegram group chat with the Ministry of Digital Transformation. I'm like, I'm not writing a letter. I didn't write it. So yeah, crypto and NFTs. I cannot even explain to you, like even with, you know, obviously everything is on blockchain. Every transaction we make is transparent. Anyone can view it. I get called a scammer every single day. I do not know what kind of educational work we should do with the public to overcome this, right? Because I struggle to think of a project that has, you know, donated and done other kinds of work for Ukraine at this scale, and it's still, you know, people still have like fixation on crypto being a scam, especially in the bear market when some people, you know, they either didn't get the profits that they expected to get, or maybe, I don't know. Exactly, right? They bought the top in the bull market and now they're upset. So yeah, I made something that's called Web3 Learning Center, which you can find on our homepage. There's going to be a QR code in there. And it aims to educate people about crypto. It has a lot of materials for beginners. But yeah, if anybody knows how to like overcome this stigma, also please let me know, along with fighter jets. So UkraineDAO sold this NFT of the Ukrainian flag for 2,258 Ether, worth at the time $6,750,000. It was the 10th, well, it still remains the 10th most expensive NFT ever sold. So proceeds were donated to Come Back Alive, which is the most reputable charity that supports Ukraine's armed forces. Ukraine's official wallet, so to Come Back Alive, we transferred about $4 million. It was the largest donation in Come Back Alive's history. About $1 million went to Ukraine's official wallet, and then $500,000 to Outright, that supports LGBT community that is often disproportionately affected in wartime. And also a small amount we transferred to a charity that provides mental health support. If you scan this barcode, and I've been told that we don't have much time, so if you scan this barcode, it will take you to the homepage of UkraineDAO, and on that page you can see different ways to get involved with us. You can explore all types of our work. We've been doing a lot of translation work, helping with evacuation on the ground, promoting Ukrainian culture, promoting good cybersecurity practices, all sorts of things. So yeah, don't hesitate to say hello. And if you have any questions, we still have 3 minutes. If anybody has any questions, I'll be very happy to answer them.
Have you heard of RAND R3063?
Say again?
Have you heard of RAND R3063?
I'm afraid, what is it?
It's a document that is from America's think tank, RAND, and it compiles all kinds of strategies on how to extend Russia, as it says. And it was written in 2018, and one of them was using Ukraine as an in-between for a proxy war.
Proxy war. I love this phrase. It's something that I hear very often, and it makes me really angry because it's often. Send me the document, by the way. So when people use the first of all the use of words that we choose when we talk about Ukraine is very important. Proxy war assumes that the war is not between Ukraine and Russia, but between NATO and Russia. And the reason for that is that it's very embarrassing for Russia to be getting wrecked in Ukraine by a bunch of farmers and unarmed civilians. And so because they cannot face the Ukrainian military, because it's much better equipped and much more professional, they choose to to kill civilians instead. And also, in order to kind of explain to its own population why they are so unsuccessful in Ukraine, they say that they're actually fighting with NATO, which is just nonsense, obviously. So yeah, please do send me that document. In terms of other words that people sometimes say about Ukraine that we do not really like, calling it a conflict, like civil war, aggression. No, aggression is actually relatively okay, but sometimes the United Nations call it. By the way, they banned their staff from using the word war and invasion about Ukraine, which is wild. So it's very funny to me when people say to me, you know, there are UN reports. I'm like, how is the UN going to investigate what's happening in Ukraine if they cannot call it a war? It's a volatile situation, they call it. I also always say that volatile situation is what's happening on the Russian stock market. What's happening in Ukraine is called a war. Okay, we've run out of time, but if anybody has any other questions, please don't hesitate to come up and say hi. Thank you, everyone.